Have you ever stopped to wonder why we react so strongly to those who challenge the status quo? Why does society instinctively recoil from individuals who think differently? The answer is rooted deep in our psychology. Consider this: when you stand beside someone known for their physical prowess, you feel admiration, you don't suddenly feel diminished. When you encounter a person of great wealth, you might feel a twinge of envy, but you're not made to feel personally inadequate. Yet when you meet someone whose intellect shines far beyond the ordinary, something entirely different happens. There exists what psychologists sometimes call a reflective challenge. A person who delves into ideas on a profound level does not simply offer new perspectives. They hold up a mirror to all of us, revealing the unspoken limitations we harbor. In that very act, their presence forces us to confront the gaps in our own understanding. And it is not an easy truth to face. Deep thinkers, even when they speak little or nothing at all, can spark feelings of discomfort and even inadequacy in those around them. Why does this occur? Why does intellectual depth, more than any other kind of excellence, provoke such a visceral reaction? The answer lies in the way our minds process different forms of superiority. When someone exhibits physical strength, we tend to see them as a natural protector or leader. When we see wealth, we admire their achievements or feel a desire to reach similar heights. These are external attributes, qualities we recognize, but which rarely challenge our inner self-image. Intelligence, however, is different. It touches the very core of our identity because we define ourselves by our thoughts, our beliefs, and our understanding of the world. When someone challenges what we take for granted, it can feel like a personal affront, a direct challenge to our own self-worth. It's not that the deep thinker is arrogant, it's that their very being forces us to acknowledge our own intellectual shortcomings. Throughout history, this has led to deep thinkers being marginalized. Their insights disrupt not only conventional ideas, but also the comfortable illusions that many of us use to maintain our self-esteem. In our everyday lives, we may have all experienced moments when, after sharing a complex idea or a deep question, the conversation abruptly stalls or the topic is quickly abandoned. This is not mere coincidence, it's a defense mechanism. Our minds are wired to protect our fragile sense of self. When confronted with a reflective challenge, our natural response is often to retreat into familiar territory, dismissing the new perspective rather than exploring it. Modern neuroscience provides further support for this notion. Studies reveal that when individuals perceive themselves as intellectually inferior, the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for detecting threats, becomes highly active, much like when one faces a physical danger. In essence, encountering deep, challenging ideas can trigger a primal survival response. But why does abstract thought cause the same reaction as a tangible threat? The answer lies in our evolutionary history. For most of human existence, survival depended less on intellectual prowess and more on the ability to belong. Our ancestors thrived in tight-knit tribes, where social harmony was paramount. To be cast out of the group was to face real danger. As a result, our brains evolved to prioritize social acceptance over the pursuit of deep, challenging truths. When a person who embodies intellectual depth enters a social setting, they inadvertently disrupt the tribal balance. Their presence not only challenges established norms, but also forces others to compare themselves, often unfavorably. It is this comparison that leads people to undermine or exclude those who think differently, all in an effort to protect their social standing. In one-on-one interactions, the threat may seem less pronounced, but in group settings, the collective need for conformity amplifies the response. Cognitive biases, like the Dunning-Kruger effect, further complicate matters. Those with limited understanding often overestimate their own abilities, while the truly insightful may struggle with self-doubt. This imbalance creates friction, as people who believe they understand the world tend to dismiss deeper, more nuanced perspectives. Our brains favor ideas that are familiar and simple over those that challenge us to think critically. This is why we see a preference for charismatic, simplistic thinkers in the public sphere, figures who project certainty, even if their ideas lack depth. History is replete with examples that illustrate this paradox. Populist leaders, motivational speakers, and viral influencers often gain mass appeal by offering comforting, easily digestible narratives rather than challenging conventional thought. Meanwhile, those who dare to question long-held beliefs struggle to reach a broad audience. In their pursuit of truth, deep thinkers often find themselves increasingly isolated, not because they wish to be alone, but because their insights unsettle the established order. Our discomfort with deep thought isn't merely cultural, it is also biological and psychological. Our very nature resists change because change implies uncertainty. Our brains are hardwired to seek predictability and comfort, and when faced with ideas that disrupt this balance, a defensive reaction is triggered. This evolutionary legacy means that society, in its quest for stability, often embraces simple and predictable ideas, even at the expense of truth. Consider the stories of history's most brilliant minds. Galileo, who challenged the geocentric view, was condemned and forced to recant his discoveries. His groundbreaking insights were seen as a threat to the established order, and yet history now honors him as a pioneer of science. Similarly, visionaries like Nikola Tesla and Alan Turing, whose ideas were ahead of their time, often suffered immense personal and professional isolation. Their lives serve as poignant reminders that the very qualities that drive deep insight can also render one an outcast in a world that values conformity over innovation. Even in our modern digital landscape, the phenomenon persists. Social media platforms, driven by algorithms that favor quick engagement over thoughtful discussion, further marginalize complex ideas. Viral content that reduces deep concepts to catchy soundbites often outperforms nuanced discourse. As a result, those who strive to share profound insights frequently find themselves ignored or ridiculed in favor of more palatable, simplistic narratives. Yet, despite these challenges, there is hope for the deep thinker. The very traits that set them apart, curiosity, a relentless quest for truth, and the courage to question, are also the qualities that can ultimately lead to progress. Instead of trying to force their ideas into a mold that society finds acceptable, truly insightful individuals learn to navigate the social landscape wisely. They choose their audiences carefully, engaging in meaningful conversations in intimate settings where depth is appreciated. They understand that while not everyone is ready to embrace complex truths, there is always a subset of like-minded individuals waiting to explore these ideas. Ultimately, society does not reject intelligence out of malice. It is simply uncomfortable with what intelligence reveals, a call for change that many are not prepared to face. Deep thinkers are not inherently unlikable or detached. They are merely ahead of their time, challenging the very foundations on which conventional thought is built. If you have ever felt isolated for daring to think deeply, know that you are not alone. Throughout history, some of the most influential figures have been misunderstood and shunned in their own time, only to be celebrated later when their ideas became the norm. This resistance is not a sign of failure. It is a testament to the transformative power of challenging ideas. So, if you have ever introduced a thoughtful, complex idea and felt the sudden silence of a room, if you have experienced the sting of being dismissed for daring to question the ordinary, remember that you are engaging in a timeless struggle. Embrace the discomfort, for it is a sign that you are pushing the boundaries of conventional thought. In doing so, you contribute to the slow, inevitable march toward a more enlightened society. Share your experiences and thoughts on this subject. Have you ever felt alienated because of your deep ideas? Let's open a dialogue and help each other navigate this intricate terrain of intellect and identity. In a world that often values comfort over truth, your courage to think differently is not just a personal gift, it is a beacon that can lead humanity forward. Even as you sit here, contemplating the quiet struggle of deep thought, remember this: every great idea begins with discomfort. The very qualities that set you apart, the relentless pursuit of truth, the courage to see beyond comfortable illusions, are the same qualities that can make the world recoil. Yet it is precisely this tension that sparks progress. In every conversation, where a profound idea is met with silence or swift dismissal, there is a hidden opportunity. An opportunity for you to refine your thoughts, to bridge the gap between challenging concepts and everyday understanding. It is not about forcing your perspective onto others, but about creating spaces where genuine dialogue can flourish. Imagine a world where intellectual depth is not feared but celebrated, a world where your curiosity is the seed from which collective wisdom grows. That world is not a distant dream, it is built gradually, one thoughtful exchange at a time. Your willingness to question, to reflect and to push against the tide of conformity is a quiet revolution. It is a reminder that even if the majority seeks comfort in simplicity, there remains a vital, untapped power in exploring complexity. So, let this be a call to embrace your inner depth, stand firm in your reflections, even if they make others uneasy. Understand that the discomfort you inspire is not a personal attack, but a mirror held up to a society that has long forgotten how to question. Use this mirror as a tool to grow, not just for yourself, but as a beacon for others who yearn for more than surface-level chatter. As you move forward, remember that every idea you nurture, every challenging conversation you start, contributes to a slow and steady transformation. In the silence that follows your honest words, know that change is brewing. Even if your voice seems small in a world obsessed with conformity, it carries the potential to ignite sparks of insight in unexpected places. Take a moment now to reflect on your journey. Have you ever felt isolated because your thoughts were too deep for everyday conversation? What small acts of courage have you taken to share your inner truth? Your experiences, however quietly expressed, are the foundation for a richer, more authentic society. Share your reflections. Let's create a space where thoughtful discourse is not just an exception, but a vital part of our community. In a world that often favors the simple over the profound, your willingness to dive into complexity is a beacon of hope, a reminder that genuine progress begins when we dare to see the world as it truly is. Thank you for joining in this exploration. Continue to question, continue to seek, and most importantly, continue to reflect. Your thoughts matter, your journey matters. And together, even the quietest voices can change the course of history. As we journey onward, consider this: every challenge you face in sharing your profound thoughts is not a sign of failure, but an invitation to grow. The quiet resistance of society isn't a wall meant to stop you, it's a mirror urging you to sharpen your ideas and refine your voice. In each moment when your words are met with silence or dismissal, there lies an opportunity to deepen your understanding of both yourself and the world. Imagine a future where intellectual bravery is celebrated. Visualize communities where questioning is not frowned upon but seen as the seed of progress. Every thoughtful inquiry you pose, every unconventional perspective you share, contributes to the slow revolution of ideas, a revolution that starts with the individual and ripples outward. Now, reflect on your own journey. What moments have challenged you to confront your internal biases? How have you grown from encounters where your thoughts were misunderstood? Recognize that each of these experiences has forged a unique strength within you, a strength that empowers you to stand apart and ultimately to lead. As you continue to navigate a world that often prefers the safe and the simple, remember that true change begins with the courage to question and the resolve to explore complexity. Let your inner light, however quiet it may seem, shine as a beacon for others who are also yearning for a deeper understanding. I invite you now to share your story. Have you ever felt the sting of silence when you dared to speak your truth? What small acts of intellectual courage have reshaped your view of the world? By opening up this conversation, you not only honor your own journey, but also invite others to embark on theirs. Together, Let's build a space where depth is cherished, where every reflective thought is valued, and where the pursuit of truth, no matter how challenging, is seen as the very heartbeat of progress. Keep questioning, keep seeking, and never forget, even in the face of resistance, your voice has the power to illuminate the shadows of our shared existence. Your thoughts matter, your journey matters. And in the quiet persistence of each brave idea, we lay the foundation for a more enlightened tomorrow.